that Malaysian doctor Lim Lei Jun will finally return to Taiwan to receive her volunteer certification. And we see how Dr. Liao Kuanfu from Myanmar takes the extra step to help patients at the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program in Taiwan. On November 10th, Master Zheng Yan arrived at the Tzu Chi Banqiao grounds to award volunteers from China their certification. Besides encouraging these newly certified volunteers to stay committed to Tzu Chi and its missions, the Master also hopes they will become role models for people and work to harmonize society.
At the Tzu Chi Banqiao grounds, as volunteers sing with piety, Master Zheng Yan slowly walks into the certification venue. Next, volunteers take to the stage to share their Tzu Chi experiences.
I've made up my mind to work even harder once I'm back home. I will put what I've learned to practice.
I felt pressure as I realized we must pass on the Dharma lineage, but I will transform the pressure into the motivation to inspire others.
The Master then put name tags on the newly certified volunteers, who are now formally committed to carrying out Tzu Chi's missions. With a firm resolve, these volunteers from China will be walking the Tzu Chi path paved with love. The Master also encouraged all Tzu Chi volunteers to become role models for others and work to harmonize society.
Next, we meet Dr. Lim Lei Jun, who is an OBGYN in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Although Dr. Lim has signed up for volunteer training many years ago, she still has not received her certification as she missed too many training sessions due to her busy work schedule. Finally completing her training this year, Dr. Lim will soon join her counterparts in Taiwan and be certified by Master Zheng Yan.
Gynecologist obstetrician Dr. Lim Lei Jun joined Tzu Chi 13 years ago. After participating in volunteer training for several years, she is finally returning to Taiwan to receive her volunteer certification.
I was asked to repeat my training again after the first year. It really hit me hard. It turns out I missed too many training sessions, and the times when I did make it, I was always late. It's because I'd be going from the hospital straight after my morning rounds. The training usually starts at 7:30, and instead of getting up earlier, I don't, so I'm always in a rush. It was always a struggle for me to get to the training, but when I'm there, I always felt that my heart was more settled.
As a member of TIMA, Lim is often seen tending to the medical needs of patients at free clinics, and Tzu Chi's spirit of humanitarianism is what brought her into the Tzu Chi family many years ago.
I consider myself to be a very dutiful doctor in the past. I try my best to treat all my patients, but I was always very serious and not so friendly. Whether it is carrying out Tzu Chi's missions or as a doctor, we have to constantly remind ourselves why we chose this path in the first place. We have to safeguard our initial vows. When we deviate from the right path, we need to find our way back.
Through serving the less fortunate, over the years, Lim has learned to cultivate compassion and empathy for others. No one has felt this more deeply than her children.
My children say that I don't lose my temper that easily anymore. In the past, I thought that one-day training sessions really helped me attain a sense of inner calm. But when I get home to find my children still watching TV and the house messy, I lose my temper. My day's training and cultivation would have been for naught. I'm different now. I can easily shift my mindset.
In the future, Lim hopes to continue extending her love and compassion to more people in need while walking steadfast on the Tzu Chi path.
My children, who think that only certified volunteers can wear Tzu Chi uniforms, ask me why I continue attending classes. I explain that many responsibilities still await me, and certification is not the end of journey, it's only a new beginning for me.
Staying in Taiwan, we next have some heartwarming stories of change inspired by Tzu Chi as we meet volunteers from China who have participated in the 2015 Overseas Volunteers Training Camp. He Yanlan, who is from Guangdong's Zhuhai, recently came to Taiwan to receive her volunteer certification. However, she was denied entry to the country as her visa states her husband must accompany her to Taiwan.
I prayed to the Guanyin Bodhisattva and asked her to grant me the permission to enter Taiwan so that I may become a better disciple of the Master. Yes, I believe the Master also helped reinforce it so that I may arrive in time.
Springing into action, a volunteer from China picked up Yanlan's husband, and together the two flew to Taiwan.
I left as soon as I got the call. Knowing that I can get her out of detention and that she can immediately attend the camp, we didn't hesitate. Her husband was the same.
Entrepreneur Chen Wenlie vows to spread Tzu Chi's message across Hainan. Chen's entire family have already become certified Tzu Chi volunteers, and this year he vows to get rid of his bad habits to make good on his promises.
Being a businessman, I give more commands than receive them. I know that I must change myself before I can inspire changes in others. In the past few years, I've listened to the Master's teachings each morning and have written out some 500 pages of my reflections.
Another who has changed for the better is Song Ximing, who used to only carry bags from luxury brands, but now she finds Tzu Chi's eco-friendly bags to be the most useful.
This bag is quite useful. It looked light when another volunteer was using it. Brand name bags are quite heavy.
Not knowing what true suffering was, it was only through visiting the poor that Ximing realized how fortunate she really was.
Seeing that you have made someone happy is more fulfilling than any happiness material items can bring you.
Finding a source of happiness, Ximing and other volunteers like her are finding their path to enlightenment, one that is worth taking. 2 years since Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines, residents of Ormoc, Leyte Province finally have something to celebrate. Recently, the Tzu Chi Foundation organized a formal handover ceremony, during which the second batch of completed prefab homes was turned over to 527 families.
A marching band kicks off the handover ceremony. While some danced joyfully to the music, others sang passionately. It's a time of celebration for residents in Ormoc City. Here at the Great Love City in Ormoc, 527 families, 1,995 people who were once victims of Typhoon Haiyan finally have a place to call their own. Tzu Chi volunteers also invited the Archbishop of Palo to bless these homes.
Today is almost 2 years after Yolanda, but Tzu Chi is still here.
To celebrate the residents' move into their new homes, volunteers prepared small gifts for everyone. Now that these residents have roofs over their heads, what they once thought was impossible has now become a reality.
I was so excited last night I couldn't fall asleep. I was so happy, thinking that we are moving into such a wonderful home.
I have a clock inside our home. Thank you, Tzu Chi.
While adults are still wondering if all this is a dream, children have already drifted off to dreamland. When they awake in the morning, they will find a steaming pot of rice and a new life filled with hope and optimism awaits them.
In today's look at noteworthy doctors in Taiwan, we meet Dr. Liao Kuanfu, who is a director of gastroenterology and hepatology department of Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital. Originally from Myanmar, Dr. Liao learned to speak Taiwanese just so he can get closer to his patients. He also actively joins Tzu Chi volunteers in home visitations to look after those in need. Here is more on his story.
Your blood work this time is pretty good, see? No figures are in red. If they are, that means you have an infection. You are totally healthy, so do not worry. Drink plenty of water and eat more. You are too thin.
Dr. Liao Kuanfu of Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital speaks to his patients in Taiwanese with a weird accent. He always feels he doesn't do enough for his patients.
I have to repeat myself several times for old people to finally get what I'm saying. When it comes to seeing a doctor, they are used to come in, sit down, and leave immediately. I always tell them to sit longer and tell me about any other problems that they might have. After drawing your blood, let's do an ultrasound to save you an extra trip.
Dr. Liao says a doctor should not wait for a patient to review his or her problem, but to be proactive and discover the patient's problem. Originally from Myanmar, Dr. Liao insists on learning to speak Taiwanese to be closer to his patients.
Oh, he is just so wonderful. He cares about me so much. A wonderful doctor he is.
Dr. Liao also takes his skill and love outside of the hospital by visiting Tzu Chi care recipients on weekends.
Old people like it when people drop in and say hi to them. This makes them very happy.
Having worked in Taiwan for years, Dr. Liao promised his mother, who lives in Thailand, that he will visit every year. But when he does, he brings a portable ultrasound to hold a free clinic.
By seizing the extra time I have to do this is wonderful. My mom agrees as well. So whenever I'm home, she'd call on her friends and ask them to come by, so I may check on them.
Not only is Dr. Liao a doctor devoted to his profession, he's also a compassionate volunteer who's always ready to share his love and warmth with others. A doctor like this surely deserves recognition.
The protagonist of this week's series on young vegetarians is 5-year-old Fang Zhenxian from Tainan, Taiwan. As Zhenxian is a student of Tzu Chi kindergarten and her father a Tzu Chi volunteer, the young girl encouraged her father to change to a vegetarian diet, which consequently inspired her whole family to follow suit. Together, the family is discovering the benefits as well as tastiness of vegetarian cuisine.
眼睛会亮晶晶的是什么？红萝卜在哪里？
曾经那个曾贤跟我讲过啊，好像就是说，爸爸你。
Zhen Xian once said to me, "Dad, you are a Tzu Chi volunteer. So if all the other volunteers are vegetarians, shouldn't we become vegetarians too?" If you had to ask Zhen Xian to eat meat again after so many years, she would refuse. She will tell you directly that she doesn't eat meat and that she is a vegetarian.
我吃素哦。
看看曾贤有没有吃素食，因为曾贤在家里都是爸爸妈妈都是吃素食，对不对？
She attends school at DaAi Kindergarten. There, they teach children to cherish the planet by embracing a vegetarian diet. That is their motto. What is being taught at school, we should implement and enforce at home as well. In other words, we should implement what she has learned at school at home as well.
慢慢走。在学校我们都是吃素，他对于学校。
We serve vegetarian meals at school, and Zhen Xian really enjoys the food we serve here. She doesn't mind the vegetables which other children might dislike. She makes sure to finish everything on her plate, no matter how much we serve. She's not fussy at all. When our students come across veggies with a more distinct taste, for instance, green peppers, they will ask the teacher to give them less. But Zhen Xian will tell them that it's very tasty and healthy and encourage them to give it a try.
对身体怎么样，他也都会这样鼓励其他的小朋友。
真仙请回家了。小菩萨，你好像胖了。
大家好，我是。
Hello everyone, my name is Fang Zhenxian and I am 5 years old. I enjoy volunteering at the Jingsi Books and Cafe. I dust the books and restock the shelves.
妈妈在流血吗？
流血，对。
对啊，怎样地球妈妈才会那个？
会冷气。我最喜欢吃红萝卜、苦瓜。
I love carrots, bitter gourd, cabbage, green peppers, corn, sweet potatoes, and eggplant.
地瓜、茄子。
在学校的部分的话，它都是有营养。
At school, a nutritionist makes sure they are getting a balanced diet every day. And at home, we prepare a variety of dishes to make up for all the nutrients she needs. If she comes across something she doesn't like, say bitter gourd, I will challenge her to a race to see who can eat the most bitter gourd. And she will actually go through with it. Now, one of her favorite foods is bitter gourd.
We can show our love for the planet and save many animals through a vegetarian diet. Let us embrace a vegetarian diet together.
Moving to Malaysia, Ong Basay used to enjoy eating seafood. However, his daughter-in-law, who is also a Tzu Chi volunteer, began to introduce the teachings of Master Zhen Yan to him. Eventually, not only has Ong Basay become a vegetarian, but he has also begun to volunteer with his daughter-in-law.
The 77-year-old Ong Basay used to be a fishmonger for over 60 years. He was once a meat lover.
Shrimps and crabs were cooked every Sunday. There were fish too. These foods used to make my mouth water.
However, Ong's daughter-in-law, Wang Lei Guan, is a Tzu Chi volunteer. Having to prepare his meals made her feel guilty every time.
知道学佛法孝，也要知道怎么样顺嘛，才是孝顺嘛。
As a Buddhist, I knew I should be filial to my father-in-law, so I still cooked fish for him. However, every time I would silently apologize to the fish and pray that my father-in-law could become a vegetarian as soon as possible.
我家公能够赶快的有机会吃素。
However, after learning of Master Zhen Yan's teachings, Ong's view changed, and he decided to become a vegetarian.
What the master said makes sense. We should refrain from killing. If we do good deeds, we saw blessings that will benefit our offspring. After hearing that, what I should do became clear.
Ong also decided to serve others. Nowadays, he volunteers in social welfare institutes every month.
Most of the time, the residents in these homes just sit there all day long without any visitor. When we visit them and play harmonica for them, they become very happy. This also makes us happy.
As long as one is willing to change, it's never too late. Ong even wants to become a certified Tzu Chi volunteer and keep volunteering for the rest of his life.
Tzu Chi Scholarship recipient Wang Jiaen's mother suffers from poor health and can't pay for their rent and utility bills on time. With Tzu Chi volunteers' support and encouragement, Jiaen is helping his mother run their sweet potato stand. Here's more.
Wang Jiaen was an exceptional athlete of his school's track and field team back in junior high.
He is very highly motivated. When he wants to accomplish something, he will become obsessed about it and try as hard as he can to achieve it.
Tzu Chi volunteers are visiting Wang today and have brought sweet potatoes. Wang lost his father and only has his mother to rely on. Knowing that one's mother once ran a roasted sweet potato stand, volunteers hope their supply can help improve the family's livelihood.
His mom wasn't very enthusiastic about this idea, maybe because she has been ill. This made us very worried. So Jia-en volunteered to do this himself.
To help give his mother a boost, Wang goes out with her on weekends and holidays to sell roasted sweet potatoes. His classmates also come to help.
I'm very, very happy because I can help my friend. It feels so good to help others.
They are just trying to make ends meet. It's hard to find good kids like him nowadays.
At the end of the day, they trek slowly under the sunset. Although it is still a long and difficult road ahead, Wang faces it optimistically and wishes to reciprocate one day.
I wish I can give back to society after I grow up. I want to work hard and save some money, then donate it to those in need.
To raise the public's awareness in the fight against cancer, some cancer sufferers took up the challenge of biking around Taiwan. These so-called unbeatable riders completed their bike tour around the island in 10 days and has proven that cancer sufferers can still lead active and fulfilling lives.
We have returned after riding 100 kilometers per day. Let's give ourselves a round of applause, all right?
These cyclists are excited because they've just finished their bike tour, riding 1,100 kilometers around Taiwan in 10 days. Among them, 33 cyclists are cancer sufferers, and they're here to prove that cancer patients can still enjoy an active life.
I met many cancer survivors who have battled with cancer for about 20 years or more. They made me believe that my life can be as fulfilling as theirs.
Participating in this bike tour every year makes me happier each time. So here I am. I will probably join the event again next year.
The oldest cyclist, 70-year-old You Xingfa, was diagnosed with tongue cancer in 2002, and he has joined this event for 4 consecutive years. This cross-country bike tour, organized by the Taiwanese Anti-Cancer Association, has attracted more than 100 cancer survivors to participate since 2011. This year, cancer sufferers from Hong Kong and Malaysia also joined the event.
I hope cancer patients can see exercise as part of their treatment. More than 100 cancer patients joined our event in the past 5 years, and they've gotten into the habit of exercising. None of them had to be hospitalized again.
Conquering the journey around Taiwan and their illnesses, these warrior cyclists have proven that with courage and optimism, cancer patients can still lead active and fulfilling lives.
Tzu Chi volunteers in the Hsinchu area recently held a gratitude concert at the local Jingsi Hall, where they invited members of the Bunong tribe to perform their traditional songs to the delight of the audience members. We will leave you with these images at the end of the program. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. See you next time.